Item Number, SCP-2026-JP. Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Currently, the SCP-2026-JP outbreak site is cordoned off and the public is not allowed to enter. The SCP-2026-JPs will be harvested by the staff in charge as soon as they are fully grown, and after proper care, they will be frozen and stored in the food vault at Site 8129. If SCP-2026-JP2 appears in the outbreak site, please transfer SCP-2026-JP to SCP-2026-JP2 immediately. Please cook and dispose of the SCP-2026-JP that cannot be transferred to SCP-2026-JP2. Description: SCP-2026-JP is a 30 cm long Sagrada Familia-like food that retains its edibility and occurs in a field adjacent to a vacant house at Town Prefecture. Soil tests conducted in the field where the outbreak occurred showed no difference in composition from soil in the surrounding area. SCP-2026-JP originates from the upper 4 tower sections and grows into the shape of a complete Sagrada Familia in a month. There is a fine tube inside the wall of SCP-2026-JP. It is presumed that water is constantly flowing in these tubes, and that they are there to replenish water to SCP-2026-JP. The object at the top of the 4 towers contains a cell that combines hydrogen and oxygen from the air and replaces them with water. The tower that resembles a pigeon perched on cupressus in the center of the 4 towers, hereafter commonly referred to as the Tree of Life, contains cells that perform photosynthesis as well as chloroplasts. If the Tree of Life is removed, SCP-2026-JP can still grow to its full potential, but the freshness of SCP-2026-JP grown with the Tree of Life removed has been found to be lower than that of normal SCP-2026-JP. Inside SCP-2026-JP, there is a creature, called SCP-2026-JP1, that looks very similar to a human, Homo sapiens, of 1 to 2 cm in length. SCP-2026-JP1 does not have the ability to speak, and it has a very bitter taste. SCP-2026-JP1's soul is densely covered with small holes with built-in spines. The exact reason for the existence of these holes is unknown, but it's speculated that the floor of SCP-2026-JP1 is nourished by scraping the floor with these holes. It's also been confirmed that it's cutting the wall surface and rehydrating the liquid inside. The parts damaged by SCP-2026-JP1 deteriorate severely. The outbreaks of SCP-2026-JP1 are generally clothed, but it is unclear where the clothes are generated from. SCP-2026-JP can only be destroyed if the person is conscious of trying to ingest SCP-2026-JP. The taste of SCP-2026-JP varies from individual to individual, and also depends on how it is cooked. The surface of SCP-2026-JP is very hard in its normal state, but it becomes soft enough to be eaten when it is placed in the mouth, boiled, or dipped in water. In addition, SCP-2026-JP has no adverse effects on the body, and is digested in the stomach like normal food. The following are the results of the feeding experiment. Feeding Experiment 2026-JP1. Experiment. Bite SCP-2026-JP raw. Staff: Researcher Sakurada. Results: cucumber-like crunch, with an occasional astringent taste. Overall, a faint greenish taste. Feeding Experiment 2026-JP2. Experiment. Boil SCP-2026-JP. Staff: Researcher Sakurada. Results: the texture became softer than when it was raw. The taste also changed to something like udon. Feeding Experiment 2026-JP3. Experiment. Deep fry SCP-2026-JP. Staff: Researcher Sakurada. Results: crispy and crunchy. Quite sweet. Feeding Experiment 2026-JP5. Experiment. Shredded SCP-2026-JP. Staff: Researcher Sakurada. Results: it was fresher than when it was raw. Also, when I shredded it, it had a tofu-like texture. Note: it seems that it is possible to destroy SCP-2026-JP by having the intention to ingest it. Feeding Experiment 2026-JP6. Experiment. Bake SCP-2026-JP. Staff: Researcher Sakurada. Result: even though no charcoal was used, the smell of charcoal wafted through the air. The inside was raw and very sour. A black-skinned humanoid entity, called SCP-2026-JP2, appears once a month at the location where SCP-2026-JP is generated. When you give SCP-2026-JP to SCP-2026-JP2, SCP-2026-JP2 disappears with a word of thanks. Discovery Record. SCP-2026-JP was discovered on October 1, 2019, by Agent Mikuria, who rushed to the scene after a resident of town reported that a Sagrada Familia sculpture had somehow increased in the field of an abandoned house. At the time of discovery, SCP-2026-JP was being raised by SCP-2026-JP2. As a result of negotiations with SCP-2026-JP2, a housing arrangement was established under the following conditions. The Foundation staff would take over the cultivation of SCP-2026-JP. SCP-2026-JP2 would be given SCP-2026-JP on a regular basis, and SCP-2026-JP2 would be required to wear a GPS at all times. The following is a transcript of an interview with SCP-2026-JP2. Object: SCP-2026-JP2. Staff: Researcher Ajay.
Hello. Sagrada Familia, I'm here to collect.
Thank you for all your hard work, Milia. I'd like to ask you a few questions before I give you this Sagrada Familia today. Do you mind?
What do you want to hear? Of course. Ask all you want. I've been indebted to Mr. Ase a lot. He even gave me a badge the other day.
No, it's a GPS with. Well, that's fine. Thank you very much. So to begin with, who are you?
I'm just a foodie, you know. Oh, and if it's too long, why don't we have some Sagrada Familia twists and turns? It's delicious.
Thanks to. Foodie, what do you mean?
It's just that I enjoy eating unusual meals from different planets. For example, Aludo in or Kinji Saito's live sashimi in Molornie.
So, what kind of cuisine is Kenji Saito's live sashimi?
You guys take human DNA and make a pseudo life form out of it and eat it alive. The organs are very fresh and warm. Oh, by the way, Kenji Saito's place changes. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not. Yukimura Yuna was the best. Because it was a juvenile, its bones were already soft. It was easy to eat because it didn't get out of control, and it was easy to chomp down on it.
Okay. That's fine. I see you like food.
That's it. Because food is the best lifestyle ever.
So, did you grow this Sagrada Familia for a meal?
Yes, it is. Sagrada Familia is pretty high on my list of great foods.
How was this Sagrada Familia built?
It's... Oh no, I'm sorry. I've done a lot of breeding, so it's hard to summarize it succinctly.
Does breeding mean that there is an original breed?
Huh? That, of course. I'm sure you all know that.
What does that mean?
What was it? I think it was. Yes, it's in a place called Spain, isn't it? Have you ever seen it?
Yes, I know about the Sagrada Familia. But that's not food, that's a building.
Yes? Sagrada Familia is food, right?
But it was a man named Antoni Gaudí who built the Sagrada Familia.
Oh, that's my grandfather.
What?
My grandfather was a foodie, just like me. He was very keen on growing the Sagrada Familia and other foods that he brought from another planet. He happened to find that the Earth was a good environment for growing food, so he mimicked humans to make various foods, and the Sagrada Familia happened to grow big. But in the middle of growing it, the grandfather died for some trivial reason, falling on a step, and the Sagrada Familia that he was growing stopped growing. That's right. I should be thanking you, but I'm not. Thank you.
Let's see. What are you thankful for?
After your grandfather died, we were wondering how to raise the Sagrada Familia, and you humans raised it for us. I was so happy. But it takes a lot of time, doesn't it? So I couldn't take it anymore, so I cut down a little bit of the Sagrada Familia and used the data to make a genetically modified Sagrada Familia. In this field, quietly. But for some reason, parasitic organisms like humans have also sprung up, and there are many areas for improvement. Well, I've always relied on humans. Thank you so much.
Sagrada Familia that's under construction now, when it's finished, are you going to eat that Sagrada Familia?
So, I don't feel like eating or anything. Sagrada Familia is for eating, right? Ah, yes. When it's finished, I want you all to leave. It's hard to get rid of every parasite.
End report. After the interview, it was discovered that a piece of wall material of the Sagrada Familia, the part designed by Antoni Gaudí, tasted the same as SCP-2026-JP when put in my mouth. Now, the completion of the Sagrada Familia has been postponed and immediate action is needed against SCP-2026-JP2.